years and with the electoral victory of President Obama, this whole question of the American dream came back in a very prominent way, not only in terms of what the American dream is and how it can be fulfilled for Americans, but what it means for the rest of the world. And Sergio Leone really opens a window for us, I believe, into what the American dream has meant in Italy, but even beyond, elsewhere, not in America. What is the American dream for non-Americans? And I think that this is a very important question that is being essentially debated in the news every day. So I think it's interesting to listen closely to Sergio Leone in this perspective. So hopefully we'll shed some light on this. But again, I think we can really pick Roberto's brain on every single, the smallest details of the movies. His book is phenomenal. I actually read it. I did. And so I'm not presenting a book without having read it. I spent the weekend enjoying it and received it over emails. I read it in a digital format. It has great photos and has great insights on the last three movies of Sergio Leone. So if we go backwards, there's Once Upon a Time in America, 1984, which, by the way, did you ever see Sergio Leone? You were born in 1980. You could not have seen a Sergio Leone movie as it hit the screens when it was first. That was the only Sergio Leone movie in 1984 that I actually saw. I remember going. It was an amazing revelation for me to see it in the big screen. Once Upon a Time in America. But then Giù la Testa, or with this funky American title, I had to write it down.
Duck You Sucker.
Duck You Sucker, yeah.
Or also A Fistful of Dynamite.
Mm-hmm. And 1971, and then Once Upon a Time in the West, 1968. And Roberto in his book talks about these three movies as a trilogy of time. His book is very much about the idea of myth, about the idea of nostalgia, about what is time, and probably time plays a big role in this revision of the American myth. And a role that, translated into Italian terms, has a lot to do with the fact that there were people who had to fight very hard, who died, essentially, for the right to consume American culture. American culture was essentially prohibited during the 20 years of Mussolini's regime. People like Cesare Pavese fought to bring the literature of Melville to the eyes to the printing presses of the Italian reading public. So it was American culture with all of its figments, whether it's high literature, whether it's popular literature, whether it's comic books, music, jazz, and then of course the movies. It was a forbidden fruit for a long time, and then it was delivered with the Marshall Plan to the Italian audiences at the end of World War II, and became this bounty of treasure trove. And so that's where probably time starts in a way. That's a way to count time, is from that forbidden fruit, and when the forbidden fruit becomes available to all. So do you want to tell us a little bit how this works?
Yeah, sure. I will talk in Italian and you will translate into English, just to make sure that both audience is covered. Anyway, so, sì, giustamente hai menzionato il fatto che Leone, essendo nato nel 29 a Roma, nasce nel periodo di autarchia del fascismo, quindi essenzialmente quando è piccolo non ha la possibilità di scoprire e di vedere il cinema americano, che, come anche lo sceneggiatore Sergio Donati nell'intervista che io ho fatto conferma, il cinema americano, così come la letteratura, piomba in Italia di colpo un decennio dopo, un ventennio dopo. E
thank you. Yeah. I was about to stop you, but yeah. Thank you. So Sergio Leone was born in 1929, and clearly during his childhood, American culture was forbidden. And as his main screenwriter, Sergio Donati, noted, American film reached Italy with a decade of waiting. So it kind of broke into the life of Italians with 10 years worth of luggage.
quando questo accade, appunto, persone come Sergio Leone subiscono il fascino tutto di improvviso, tutto di colpo, non solo del cinema ma della letteratura americana, e quindi principalmente dei generi forti, narrativi, generi quindi il giallo, il thriller, il noir e chiaramente il western.
So when this happens, people of Leone's generation, of course, are charmed by this cultural corpus that includes all kinds of horror genres like detective stories, like thrillers and hardboiled novels, and so on.
E non solo, c'è da dire anche che l'Italia appunto di quel periodo in cui Leone nasce e vive la propria giovinezza è un'Italia appunto difficile, un'Italia che vive comunque il periodo pre-guerra, e Leone vive con una certa, da giovane vive con una certa incoscienza tutto questo. Lui ricorda spesso nelle interviste che i suoi film sono come aver reso concreto la sua giovinezza, ovvero all'aver giocato, lui ricorda spesso a guardie e ladri, ma potremmo traslare la cosa a cowboy e indiani.
So the time after World War II, during which Sergio Leone was growing up, was a very, very hard time for Italians who were coming out of World War II and reconstructing their country. Yet Leone seems to have had a life that was somewhat oblivious of these hardships, and so he reminisces about his childhood, about his youth, as playing cops and gangsters, but also cowboys and Indians in the imaginary of those days.
Yeah. Comunque Leone inizia, poi c'è da dire ecco, che Leone viene anche da una famiglia artistica, nel senso suo padre era regista del cinema muto, Vincenzo Leone, col soprannome di Roberto Roberti, mentre la madre era un'attrice, Edvige Valcarenghi.
So he came from a film family, and his father was, remind me again,
Vincenzo Leone,
or Roberto Roberti was a pseudonym. It was a director, and his mother, Edvige Valcarenghi, was an actress in silent movies.
Questa serie di elementi, di come si combinano questi elementi, la fascinazione per il cinema americano e per non solo il cinema, come abbiamo detto, letteratura, musica e l'essere nato, come lui stesso ricordava, praticamente in un cinema, ha fatto sì, insomma, chiaramente ha sviluppato una passione forte per il cinema e per i generi popolari.
So the ingredients of Leone's success essentially are both this upbringing in a film family, as he used to say, being born almost in a movie theater, and at the same time this encounter with American culture and with popular